It's Wednesday, and I hope you're having a good day. Yesterday, at the end of the message, I talked about how today we're going to talk about the second coming of Christ. So let's jump right on that. Chapter 2, verse 28. Here's what John says. And now, little children, abide in him, so that when he appears, we may have confidence and not shrink from him in shame at his coming. If you know that he is righteous, you may be sure that everyone who practices righteousness has been born of him. John loves this word abide. And here it brings a sober warning to us. We need to abide in him so that when he appears, we don't shrink away in shame at his coming. But the one who practices righteousness, we know that one has been born of him. So I want you to think about this word abide. John loves the word abide. Jesus does too, because that's where John got it. I want to read to you his thoughts from John 15. This is Jesus' words from John 15, verses 4 and 5, where Jesus talks about us abiding in him. Look at the parallel here. Jesus says this, abide in me and I in you. As the branch cannot bear fruit by itself unless it abides in the vine, neither can you unless you abide in me. I am the vine, you are the branches. Whoever abides in me and I in him, he it is that bears much fruit. For apart from me, you can do nothing. So Jesus here uses that great imagery of the vine and the branches. We're the branch, so we grow out of the vine. The vine gives us life. And the purpose of the vine is to bear the fruit that the vine, the purpose of the branch is to bear the fruit that the vine gives to it. And here's how I interpret this. I say we just don't turn away from the vine and try and produce fruit. No, we draw near to the vine. We pull near to Jesus. We pursue him. We seek him. And what happens is we draw near to him in relationship, then he produces fruit through us. It's the automatic response of abiding in Christ. Bearing fruit is the automatic response of those who are pursuing Jesus Christ in a relationship. So with that in mind, let's go back to 1 John. Because here it talks about one of those fruits is practicing righteousness. Abide in me, and you'll practice righteousness, he's suggesting here. It says if you don't abide in him, you may shrink away in shame at his coming. That's a sobering thought. Stop and give thought to that today. Read it again and again and again. Have we simplified the second coming of Jesus Christ to the point where we think no matter how we're living, it's simply going to be a party that day? This verse suggests otherwise. Little children, he's addressing Christians. Some of us may be living lives that is not reflected of abiding. It's not reflecting bearing the fruit of righteousness. When Christ returns, we're going to go, oh, no, not today. Not today, Lord. Don't come back today. Give thought to that. That's a sobering thought. John goes on. Verse 1 of chapter 3. See what kind of love the Father has given to us, that we should be called children of God. And so we are. Beautiful truth there. God's love has made us his children. And John affirms that. And so we are. That is our identity. The reason why the world does not know us is that it did not know him. Here it is. Beloved, we are God's children now. And what we will be has not yet appeared. But we know that when he appears, we shall be like him, because we shall see him as he is. I suggest to you that every day of your life, God is working in you Christ-likeness. He's taken all the circumstances of your life, all the pain, all the successes, all the pleasures, everything about your life, and he's conforming you to the image of his Son. Paul tells us that in Romans 8 and in Colossians 2. But there's a culmination to that. When Christ appears, that work will be finished. At that moment, we will be raised from the dead. Our bodies will be glorified like Jesus Christ, and my character, and my motives, my thoughts, everything about me will become like Christ. When I see him, I will become like him. It's a process God's been working in me every day, but there's a culmination coming, and that is when Jesus Christ returns, and what a glorious day that will be. But then John here gives us an admonition about that. This hope we have when we see Christ to be like him, verse 3, and everyone who thus hopes in him purifies himself as he is pure. To want to be like Jesus, to long for his coming, is to live a life of purity. Or as John said earlier, who practices righteousness. Or Jesus said in John chapter 15, who bears much fruit. That's what it means to be a Christ follower. That's what it means to abide in Christ. And someday we will become just like him. And that should be the longing of our heart. I hope it is yours. I'm asking God to increase the longing in my heart to be like Jesus Christ in everything I do. Give thought to that, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.